Throughout Warcraft history, there have been plenty of abnormal races we've interacted with that have their own little unique quirks, but in the War Within, the Nerubians have been fleshed out in such a way that make them truly otherworldly, compared to our four-limbed, rudimentary ways of living. Azj-Kahet is an empire that has existed for tens of thousands of years, a culture built on magic, knowledge, and individuality. They take in information around them not through sight, but complex pheromones that dictate the intricate hierarchy of their civilization. Through magical webbing, they can pass down the learned experience to a new generation, who further master the studies of the long lineage of their arachnid ancestors. They are ruthless, unnerving creatures who emerge from the depths to capture their prey. But how did the Nerubians and the kingdom of Azj-Kahet even come to be? Okay, so long ago when the old god Black Empire dominated Azeroth, there was an insectoid race called the Aekir, born from the old gods. These Aekir traveled across Azeroth, and some of them settled in what would later be called Northrend. Nearby, their old god daddy Yogg-Saron was imprisoned, but from his radiating influence, the Aekir were transformed into the Nerubians. This next bit of lore is a bit vague because it comes from a lore book within Azj-Kahet that you don't read. In order to absorb the information within it, you must smell it. Oh yeah, oh, interesting. Okay, so there's this time where the Nerubians still worshipped and followed their creators, the old gods. But the important thing is that the life of the Aekir, and in turn the Nerubians, were not valued at all. They would be sent in unending swarms against their enemies in battles they surely would not win. They were just fodder for their creators, and their entire purpose ended there. But within Nerubian society, one rose to power. A Nerubian with the power of a lord and the memory of a sage. Her name was Azj, who was dissatisfied with the Nerubians' place in life as slaves to their uncaring dark masters. She saw the Nerubians for who they were. Individuals whose lives should not be taken for granted. It was this recognition of Nerubians as individuals which would be the foundation for the new beginnings of their race. And so, Azj and her army defected from their creators, traveling deep into the earth and building the kingdom of Azj-Kahet. Over thousands and thousands of years, the kingdom of Azj-Kahet grew in size, building layers on top of layers as the city grows. Those of the highest class live in the upper layers, while the lower class live in the dark underbelly of the kingdom. Now, as I mentioned previously, something integral to Nerubian society is something called strands. This is magical webbing that can contain knowledge of a previous generation, and it can be passed down from one high-ranking sage or queen to the next generation. This is an unnatural, complicated process that can't just be done all willy-nilly. Long ago in Nerubian history, after the first queen had died and others had taken her place, the empire found themselves in a predicament. A queen rose to power named Zultra, who had an unending thirst for war. Queen Zultra wanted to dominate all of Khazulgar and wanted to start a war against the Earthen. I mean, just look at them. Their stony, smug aura, it insults me. But the rest of the Nerubians did not share her need for conquest. So, the first ever recorded civil war in Nerubian history happened, and Queen Zultra attempted to force her dominance over her people. But the high-ranking lords and sages refused Zultra's demands for conquest. But they couldn't just kill her. Killing her would cause all of the strands of knowledge from the previous generations to be lost. So instead, they exiled Zultra, until she would part with the ancient knowledge held within her. Zultra was given the name the Queen of Cobwebs, and is a reminder to all Nerubians the cost of hubris. Some say she is still lurking within the depths of the earth, waiting for the day her dreams of conquest can come to fruition, while others say no queen is immortal, and she must have eventually succumbed to old age. Or did she? Well, in the Azj-Kahet zone, one can find an NPC tucked away called the Mad Nerubian, who says, "Who am I? What kind of question? Bow. Bow before me, overcrawler, for I am a queen, but no more. They cast me out, exiled me. Me! I'm a queen! She continues to ramble on and on about how her own people stabbed her in the back and how she sits here, forgotten. So for thousands and thousands of years, Azj-Kahet developed alongside their sister kingdom, Azj-Nerub. But between the time frame of Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 3, something terrible happened to them. You see, in Northrend, the spirit of Ner'zhul was entombed atop the frozen throne, commanding the Scourge to kill and raise all life on Northrend to grow his undead army. The Nerubians of Azj-Nerub were the first to strike in what would later be called the War of the Spider. But as the war continued, the tides of battle had turned, and the hordes of unyielding undead were pounding on the gates of the Nerubian city. Throughout Azj-Kahet, we can see various devices called shadecasters that retell the messages sent between Anub'arak, the king of Azj-Nerub, and the former queen of Azj-Kahet, Queen Neferis. Anub'arak sends a message that goes along the lines of, "Holy shit, they're f***ing our thoraxes, please help us, you're also a Nerubian, so you're like obligated to." In response, the queen says, "I, Neferis, queen of Azj-Kahet, must unspoil my deepest thoughts. 3 times now, King Anub'arak has demanded our empire intervene in matters to the north. The last diplomat he sent was webbed and dragged to the darkest reaches of my kingdom. Azj-Kahet is strong, its people stronger still. We could perhaps turn the tide of battle, if I were to give orders to intervene. Yet, I cannot. I will not lose a single soul to that frozen tundra, far from our webs. This army of dead has passed over Azj-Kahet. We are far too remote, beneath their notice. Sending my people to war would only bring a fate worse than death to us. I will not answer his demands. I know Anub'arak asked for this war. He can finish it, alone." Queen Neferis then blocked all of the passageways to Azj-Nerub, dooming them to their fate as they were consumed by the Scourge. But within Azj-Kahet, players can find an Azj-Nerub diplomat within the zone. His name is Katet, and when you talk to him, he says, "When I came before Queen Neferis with Anub'arak's demands, she cast me out and locked me away. Looking back, I think she knew what she was doing. If she had allowed me to return to Azj-Nerub, I would have surely been slain for my failure to bring the forces of Azj-Kahet with me. As far as I know, I am the last living Nerubian of Azj-Nerub. For that, I suppose I owe her my life." Now that isn't exactly true. There's still a very small living group of Azj-Nerub Nerubians still running around Northrend, but I just gotta say, Anub'arak is securing the spot as the most punished character in Warcraft. Dude tries to fight the Scourge, realizes, oh damn, these zombies got hands, asks for aid from his fellow Nerubians, is denied, dies, then is raised into undeath and serves the Lich King. Keep in mind, he also retains his consciousness and has to watch himself betray his kingdom as he's controlled like a puppet, and he's named the Traitor King by his people. Then he dies again, then he's raised again, and then he dies again. And to top it all off, Anub'arak has to be a character in Heroes of the Storm, truly a fate worse than death. Okay, so the Empire of Azj-Nerub is left in ruin, but that's alright because Azj-Kahet, it's totally fine. Kind of. Their isolationist nature has led the kingdom to experience a slow decline, but the details of this decline are never really stated, so we can assume it's for boring reasons, like, I don't know, like economics, population growth, cultural divisions, and like, I don't know, taxes or something? But even in this slump, they were able to make the best new type of Nerubian, Skitterlings, who are these cute little servant-esque creatures who have the best voice lines in all of the War Within.
Here I am. Hi. Goodbye. Oh, see you soon. Okay, bye.
Also, random fun fact, according to Wowhead, for some reason, all of the Skitterlings in the game have a random male Night Elf error voice line that's attached to them.
I can't put that there.
Okay, well, even if Nerubians made some cool new little guys, they were still in a bit of a slump. And during the battle for Azeroth, when the old god N'Zoth was freed, his Black Empire servants came to Queen Neferis and offered her to join the Void's minions once again and make Azj-Kahet powerful and serve their dark gods, which she denied. Then Xal'atath appeared and tried to convince the queen to join her, which she denied. But then Xal'atath convinced her daughter, Ansurek, to lead the Nerubians into a kingdom of strength and serve her, a creepy void entity possessing the corpse of an elf that just climbed out of a wall. So to usurp her mother, Ansurek stabbed Neferis, locked her away, and became the new Queen of Azj-Kahet and accepted Xal'atath's gifts. A part of Xal'atath's offer was giving the Nerubians something called Black Blood. This is powerful old god blood found deep within Azeroth that was dislodged after Sargeras stabbed his sword into the planet, and it can be used to empower the Nerubians. And wait a second, I think I've heard this before. A shady figure approaches a race of people who are down and out, and offers them to drink powerful blood which empowers them, but at a great cost. So with Ansurek dethroning her mother and now leading the Nerubians, the kingdom is now in service of Xal'atath, and they are attacking all the other factions in Khazal-Gar, like the Arathi and the Earthen. The Nerubians who fight for Xal'atath and are deemed worthy enough are empowered by the Black Blood and are transformed into the Ascended. And these Ascended have had every ounce of Nerubian swag sucked out of them in exchange for power. These empowered beings are seen as greater than your typical Nerubian and are far removed from Nerubian society because all of Nerubian society relies on the exchange of pheromones for communication. And these new Ascended, they can't even comprehend the communication told through pheromones. Also, Xal'atath can mind control them at will to do whatever she wants, and her grand plan was to pump all of these Nerubians with black blood and then send them to other zones in Khazal-Gar so they'll die and spread the black blood everywhere. And I love the reverse trope Blizzard has written here. Typically you have humans that are transformed into monsters that are rejected by society, but for the Nerubians, they're monsters that have transformed into people, and everyone in Nerubian society just thinks they're really just weird and incredibly unnerving. But the Ascended are just one type of Nerubian empowered by the Black Blood. There's these flying monsters called Skyrazers and these abominations called Hulks. And you see, what happened to the former queen, Queen Neferis, is that she was experimented on and was transformed into the first Hulk ever created.
Abomination hurts. Leave me.
But of course, not all of the Nerubians are so willing to side with Xal'atath. During the main storyline, we meet Widow Arachne, who's the former royal weaver.
Ah, there's the little morsel now. Come in, come in. You are most welcome here. This Harbinger has the entirety of Azj-Kahet's military at her disposal. They are impossibly strong, and I have no army of my own. If I am to reach Ansurek and dispose of the Harbinger, then I will need to find a way to subvert her military might from within, my little morsel. Now shoot.
And throughout the questline, we work with spies and rebels to dethrone the new evil queen and kill her subjects. So a story that's just like, Suramar and Revendreth. Okay, well, even if we're retracing our steps a bit, I don't particularly mind. Writing a story where we work with rebels to fight back against an evil kingdom is really just written as a gameplay excuse for us to have a giant city that we can kill things in. Let's not beat around the bush here. Is the questing in this zone better than Suramar? No, I mean, Suramar had a max-level quest line that was expanded upon for months. The pacing of the introduction and liberation of Azj-Kahet happens in the span of weeks, maybe even shorter. And sure, Queen Anzurek accepted Xal'atath's bargain to have her kingdom become all-powerful once again, but she failed to read the fine print that said that she was also going to be the last boss of the first tier of the expansion, so her fate was sealed. Players go into the raid, kill all of the Queen's minions, and then kill her.
Slender is the strand that guides your destiny.
And in Queen Anzurek's final moments, Xal'atath abandons her in her time of need and goes, "Hey, guess what? I don't really care about you or the Nerubians. You're all just pawns in my great game of world domination." And the Black Blood gave the Ascended noses for a reason. Trick or treat, smell my feet, see you later. And as of the making this video, that's kind of it for the Nerubians of Azj-Kahet. We don't know what they're gonna do with the remaining swagless Ascended, what they're gonna do with all the Black Blood, and most importantly, who's gonna lead the race now. There is a chance that Queen Nephris will become queen once again in her horrible monster form, or my bet is they're gonna give them the Blizzard special, a council. Blizzard fucking loves councils. The Horde have a council, the Alliance, council, kind of. Dwarves have a council, Earthen have a council, Undead have a council, Blood Elves have a triumvirate, Dalaran, they have the Council of Six. Oh, okay. Well, I guess there was a Council of Six for Dalaran.
Excellent!